Happy Monday rolling out. It is your host, Crystal Jordan, and we are here for another edition of Reality Check. However, today is March 1st, which is the first day of National Women's History Month. So, of course, I have to give shouts out to all the beautiful women watching tonight. And I also want to just acknowledge the fact that, well, first of all, to me, it seems like we are not just experiencing National Women's History Month. It feels like there's just been so much pride and so much support for women over almost like the last 2 years. It seems like things have really been changing and people are really starting to acknowledge, and we see women just leading and doing things that we always knew that they could, but they're finally being acknowledged. And so it just feels like we're in a great space for women. And so with that being said, I'm really excited about tonight's guest. She is a powerful woman. She is on OWN's new drama series, Delilah, and she's actually the actual star of the show. So please help me welcome Maahara Hill. Hey.
Hey.
Welcome to Reality Check. This is your first time here, so welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, as I was saying, happy National Women's History Month. How are you feeling about just all the amazing things that we've seen women doing as of late? It seems like there's just like a resurgence of female leadership, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I personally feel like that is a place where we belong, because we just can handle so many things. You know what I mean? Not always effortlessly. It takes some effort, but graciously and with compassion and a sense of a balance about how we move forward. I think that what happened last year and this year with Stacey Abrams in Georgia, turning the whole country into, you know what I mean? She turned the whole thing around.
Yeah.
I'm saying like that's it in a nutshell. You know what I mean? About what we can do and what we can accomplish when we set our minds to.
She is a great representation. There's so many other women that we see. Actually, last night, the Golden Globes, we see Andra won I can't remember her last name. Please, you guys don't get me. I'm just in Day. I believe Day, obviously, won for the Billie Holiday, United States versus Billie Holiday. Beautiful. Well, it was a beautiful film, but it was also a really emotional film. Did you get a chance to see that?
I did not, but I cannot wait to see it. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't got a chance to see it, but the reviews and just her performance and everything, I'm so looking forward to.
Her performance is I mean, obviously, hopefully she'll continue to win for that. But I just love seeing it. Was a tragic story. It's very sad. Yeah. But again, honoring just one of our sheroes from back in the day. I never realized that Billie Holiday stood up and continued to sing Strange Fruit as her way of supporting and standing up for who she was in support of all that was going on racially and socially, social injustice back then. That type of strength in the midst of her own, turmoil and internal trouble is just beyond admirable. So she won that award for playing a very, very courageous and artistic woman.
Yeah. I mean, she's a fabulous singer, you know what I mean? And it's all an art form, but for her to turn towards this new craft and handle it in such a fine fashion, you know what I mean? There's a lot to be said for that, because everybody can't do that either.
That's true. That is true. Well, I am excited. We are OWN lovers. Reality Check, we are there. Most of my viewers are women, and we absolutely love OWN's programming. And people were really sad to see Greenleaf go.
Yeah.
But we have Delilah. We have Delilah from the creators of Greenleaf. So what I want to do now is I want to play the trailer in case you guys have not seen what this show is about. I want to play this trailer, and then we're going to get into it with Delilah herself about what we can expect next week when this series premieres. So we're going to go to the trailer here. Actually, you know what? I've got to give me a quick second to pull up this video, and we'll let you set it up right after we watch this and get ready to get into Delilah. Where is my, you guys, hold on. Be patient with me here. I think this may still be loading. We may still be loading. Nope. Here it is. Okay. Give it a couple of seconds to load up. You know, technology is a little strange.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
I tried to get in here and I was like, oh, not with this server. Oh, okay. You need a new browser. Okay. Let me.
right,
Yeah.
right. It's like, you know, it's weird because interviewing people like this is you miss some of that like interaction with, you know, face to face. And
Yeah.
even now, like with this kind of stuff, usually you could kind of play it off. But okay, all right, now it's telling me that the video is uploaded. So we're going to go ahead and see this trailer, and then we're going to get into Delilah.
Advice do you have for a young black lawyer?
If you're doing it for the money, do it for the money. For me, it's all and only about the people.
D, I know you. Leah Davis is a magnet for trouble. Promise you won't take her case. I'm putting quotes on case.
You are so bad. Leah, you want to tell me what's going on?
Tried to do the right thing at work. Got myself into a mess of trouble. I need your help.
D, we've made it 20 years without going up against each other in court. Let's not do it now. You and me are gonna pop that bottle. We won't talk about the case, and it'll be like old times.
They're watching me.
Delilah, I'm gonna have the resources of the largest firm in Charlotte, and all you're gonna have is Leah Davis.
I might have the truth.
So how's the big case?
It's getting bigger all the time.
She wants things escalated. She wants a mess. D, I know that you're upset about what happened. Believe me, I am too. But we can't fall apart over this.
Wow. All right. So tell us about Delilah.
So Delilah, okay, it's this particular season, and I'm sure the series in general is looking at this friendship. Okay, so they're opposing each other on the same case in this season. Delilah and her best friend Tamra have found themselves in a bit of a situation. There's something that Tamra stands to benefit from taking this case, and then there's something that Delilah stands to lose. So, you know, a lot of what happened there was just, you know, them establishing this friendship and her asking her not to take the case. And obviously, or perhaps we'll see, looks like, you know, Delilah took the case.
Right.
But Tamara's this big corporate lawyer, you know what I mean? She works for the highest law firm in Charlotte. And I am more of a community civil, you know, I work on immigration cases and things that help the community, more of a community lawyer. So it's a bit of a David and Goliath kind of a story.
Right.
You know, but the odds are completely in Tamara's favor. But there are so many things that get unearthed throughout the course of the case that make it something that Delilah cannot turn away from. But she's big on fighting for the underdog. She speaks up for the voiceless. She gives a voice to those who don't have one. In this particular case, her becomes pretty personal for her. So it's difficult for her to turn it down.
Yeah. Well, I was looking over your bio, and you've worked with first of all did some cameo work on How to Get Away with Murder, that very intense show. This one very intense show. This one seems that there's some intensity, but there's also like you said, a continuous theme seems to be this relationship with her girlfriend, played by Jill Marie Jones, who everybody of course remembers from the top series Girlfriends. Yeah. Tell us about, but I was reading about you and it said that you actually relate a lot to Delilah as far as like your own beliefs and things that you've done a lot of nonprofit socially driven work in your past. Do you bring your personal passion to this character? Was that easy to make that connection for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it could be something as simple as like a football game. I'm like, who is not the favored team to win? I want the underdog to win every single time. You know, that's just how I roll. But I also have done work as a CASA. It's a court-appointed special advocate in the for children in the foster care system.
Right.
There's things in the educational system and just children in general that speak to my heart. And this season, there's a relationship that Delilah has with her nephew that also kind of just speaks to, how compassionate she is about children in that relationship, and that maybe sense of abandonment that you have from parents for whatever reason. She also made her children her priority. She hung up her own shingle. She used to work for this big high-powered law firm similar to the one that Tamara was working for, but she chose to be a mom and put that first. So she'd have her time would be her own. She wanted to have dinner with her kids. She wanted to drop them off at school. You know what I mean? She wanted to do all those things, but her career still mattered to her. So she's, I think similar to a lot of women in that way, just trying to balance her life with her work life with her personal life, but this friendship is central to the story. Every friendship has its ups and downs, but this season it's very
Yeah, it seems like work becomes that. I want to talk about friendships and female friendships, especially. We talk about relationships on this show all the time, and usually we're talking about romantic relationships, but I think it's equally important, if not even more so, those relationships that we have with our girlfriends. So I want to ask you some questions about that, but I want to bring up, you mentioned that Delilah had this high-powered job and she let that go so that she would be able to be at home with her children. I believe she has 2 children and she's trying to be a good mom, trying to balance that. Do you think that, that's surprising now? Because it seems like now we are so, society encourages us to put work and chase in money and that prestige above family. Do you think that there is something to be really cherished about a character that's like, you know what, I need to be able to be home for my kids. I need to be able to do that. So women that are doing that actually, kind of feel empowered, because it seems like we're a little bit skewed right now to, putting down everything and making sacrifices to chase that high powered career.
Absolutely. Like personally, I'm a mom, and this one of the ways that I'm similar to Delilah is that I kind of put my career on the side. I raised a whole child before I really delved into my acting career. I was like, I need to be doing the same things. I need to take her to school. I need to drop her off. I need to pick her up. I need to say how her day was, I want to make her dinner. I want to be available, but I still, did work where I could, but I just didn't let it interfere with my relationship, as a mom. But those women who do, you know what I mean? I'm not, to each their own.
Right.
I'm just similar to the character in that way.
Right.
That you also find, we're talking about Women's History Month, men don't have to choose.
They don't have to make those choices.
They don't ever get asked about it. It's not like, why are you doing this versus, being at home with your kids and being a great dad and being available for your kids, throwing the ball around, that's not something that they have to worry about. I think the most important thing, which is so difficult because balance is like, it's so like, you got to just get it right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not easy to accomplish, but if you, to the best of your ability, if you can kind of create this well-rounded version of yourself that allows you to show up to the best of your ability in every area that matters and means something to you, then you're good,
I think that kind of shifts, especially I can speak being a mom as well, and making the choice to have my own business because that allowed me to be home with my kids. But I noticed that when my kids were younger, it definitely was, the balance had to be more on taking care of them, like the actual cooking dinner and that kind of thing. And then as they got to high school, you have to kind of shift again. And now as a parent of grown children, I'm being forced to shift again. I know. I don't like this.
Well, that's me. I wouldn't shift. I know.
I don't want to shift this, but I mean, they force you to shift. So I think that's another thing with womanhood is just like, and I know from my experience, I'd love to hear what you think. I've had to like find Crystal again. Okay. Yeah. Crystal has little kids and Crystal has teenagers. Now Crystal has adults. And so she has to kind of find this new version of herself that is more independent because I don't have little ones, so it's like reinventing yourself and finding that balance in this new stage.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Because kids just grow, you know what I mean? They're just kind of go with the flow. It's us it's the parents that have to make the adjustment.
True.
I feel like, they say the critical years are 1 through 3. So like, I found that the critical years were more in high school. So that for me, I was like, oh, there's a lot of hormonal things, and you're starting to learn more about who you are. So I just really wanted to be present through that. But that shift, like you're saying, that shift from being a teenager to trying to turn into some other adult, I'm like, it for sure. Because so much of personally my identity in being a mom, and showing up for her and being there for her, that hasn't changed. Don't get me wrong, that has not changed. I'm still that.
Right.
But because I need to give her space and room to grow, I have to adjust and I have to fall back a little bit and let her like start to become, who she is without me or despite me, or like, not despite me, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's kind of like, I get it. I'm there. It's like, I don't need to tell you what to do now. I am the counselor. I'm the person that you can come to if you need me, but I'm not the person making the decisions. And that is a tough pill to swallow. I like to make those decisions, but yeah, it's a total different space. Totally relate to that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Delilah is managing. It sounds like the kids are smaller.
The kids are smaller, so yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, it's a lot easier
to do. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you though. I thought high school, I remember working in entertainment, and I'm like, in high school, like I need to be at home at night because I need you to know that I'm going to know what's going on when, at night. I don't want any trouble. I need to be here in the house, totally aware of what's happening with teenagers in the house. So
and they're just like becoming more of themselves and trying to figure out like what this world is and their relationship to it. I just wanted to be like, hey, let me tell you something. You know what I mean? Let me help you through that part, because I remember that part. You know what I mean? It's a hard part of life. That part, those teen years aren't like fun.
They're not. I don't want to go. I kind of miss having a little baby. I don't miss having a teenager. I don't miss that at all. Let's talk about friendships, because I think, like I said, that's something that we talk about. Self-care. We talk about mental health a lot, over the last year, especially with everything that's happened. And I think that, friendships and good relationships with other women are a big part of having a healthy sense of self and having that healthy identity, when you have other people that you can talk to that are supportive, that can kind of be a listening ear, maybe going through similar things. How do your girlfriends play a part in your own kind of like self-care, and how you celebrate yourself, over the last few years?
Well, they have definitely believed in me more than I have believed in myself. You know what I mean? You always need that, because you can't just fall off in that regard. And always encourage more self-care than I'm able to do sometimes.
Right.
But the seed is always planted. Like, you need to take care of yourself. I got a couple friends right now that are like, we going to this wellness spa. You coming? We're going to meet you here. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I know I need that. You know what I mean? So, they also are really good. Like, when you have a close friendship, they're really good at kind of reflecting things back to you that maybe you're not emotionally aware of, because you're just in your life and you're just doing what you do. And you got a friend who's like, I don't know, do you know that you do that? I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to, I'm sorry. I offend you, it's just another set of eyes, and it's beautiful when there's somebody that loves you and that's close to you and that you can trust,
Right. No, I agree 100%. How do you deal with, because I think one of the parts of real friendship is also accountability. So when you have those situations that, there is conflict, because that's a big part of the storyline here, is there's conflict. How have you in your personal life managed to maintain those real relationships where there's real love and real trust when there is conflict?
You just gotta, what my aunt would call it is our courageous conversations. Yeah, she's like, it's time to have a courageous conversation. Like there's things that you're like, ooh, I don't want to face within myself. I know that's gonna come up when I have this conversation. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? We love to feel like we're right all the time. But I'm the type of person, I don't like to sweep stuff under the rug. I don't like for it to be too lumpy and bumpy. I'd rather just kind of face it head on and address it and say that this is this is how that made me feel. I don't know about you, but
Right.
we gotta kind of talk it through, and we gotta, find a way to resolve it to the best of our ability, and sometimes, like, I don't know if it was that trailer or another trailer, but it's like everything grows. Sometimes together, sometimes apart. And there's no judgment there either. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to grow together. We can grow together for this part and be partners in this way. And you helped me, I helped you. And now we have to separate. That has to be okay too. Because I think a lot of people have a hard time or have fear around letting go when it's time to let go of something. You know what I mean? And we want to just hold so tightly to a thing, but you can try that, and it usually slips out of your grasp.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of hold it lightly. You'll find that what's yours and what belongs to you, whether it's friendship or anything else, will always be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you guys are just tuning in, we are talking with the beautiful Maahara Hill from OWN's new drama series, Delilah, and we're talking about friendships. We're talking about motherhood, womanhood, which is a great conversation for the first day of March, which of course is National Women's History Month. So this series is, you actually, you mentioned making some sacrifices for motherhood, and now you are the star of this new series on OWN. That has to be a huge coup. That has to be huge. How did you feel when you got the news that you got this huge part?
I mean, my daughter was in the car, so my manager called me up and he's like, Maahara, are you driving? I'm like, yeah, what's up? But I already knew I had gotten pretty far in the process. And so whenever he calls, I'm like, oh, what's going on? He's like, I need you to pull over. So I pulled over. I knew once he said I need you to pull over, and then he pulled somebody else on the call, and then he told me, and my daughter jumped out and started screaming. I knew it. And I was just like, oh, wow. I just couldn't stop. Like, we were both in it the whole time together. Like, this whole journey has been ours. We've shared it, my daughter and I, so I haven't been alone. But for her, would I have even returned to acting, I think, you know what I mean? So it was beautiful, that moment, to share with her in particular, and to have this opportunity after I spent all of that time devoted to her and just pouring into her, not pouring into myself much at all, really. Just really pouring mostly into her and making sure that she was good.
Yeah.
So then,
beautiful testament to what you just said about, if letting, obviously that was your dream, but you did what you thought you had to do, and because it was meant for you, look how it returned, and then you were able to share it with your daughter. This is a beautiful, beautiful testament for anyone out there that is afraid that they are, past their point or their dream is gone. You just never know how God can bring what God has planned for you, and if it is yours, it will come regardless of the time. So I love that. Love the story. Love the story.
I'm like, it's never too late.
Right.
You just stick to it. And also, it's like, do the things that your heart leads you to do. It was motherhood for me. You know what I mean? And people would like to think, oh, you should have started then. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be away from her for 12 hours then.
Yeah.
It's a 14-hour day sometimes. I just I couldn't do it. So this was like,
it worked out exactly as it was supposed to. Now you've done cameos, like I said, in How to Get Away with Murder. I had to say that one first because one of my favorite shows from one of my favorite actresses, of course, Viola Davis. But you've also been in Blackish and a bunch of other shows. What has been the experience of just being around that type of talent? Anthony, I mean, that's one of the biggest shows on network television, has been for years. And Jane the Virgin, like just a real diverse group of television, and been able to, be around and be in some of those things. How's the career been leading up to Delilah?
Those moments, that opposite Viola Davis and working with Anthony Anderson and Lawrence Fishburne.
There you go. Yeah. And my personal hero, I got to bring her around. This is why I watch Black. I love Jennifer Lewis.
Yeah.
She is everything. So yeah, that show is like Black history in the making, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're doing amazing things over there, and they're running the show. So it's beautiful to see, and it was beautiful to be a part of. Anthony was great. Lawrence Fishburne was so kind. I was like, what am I doing? But Viola really I worked on How to Get Away with Murder before Blackish. And that one just literally, I was like, I can't believe there's a camera on the other side of her head, looking at me talking to her. You know what I mean? The moments up to that were just me saying, you know, I think I can do this. I know I can, you know what I mean? Little bit parts here and there. And those parts weren't huge either.
Right.
But it was just, you know, for me personally, it was like, okay, I can, not that I'm on that level, but I can hang.
Yeah.
I can
I'm there.
yeah, I'm in there, you know. So that's what it did personally, you know what I mean? It was very helpful in that regard.
Yeah. Got to be confirmation. And it has to be great. You know, just as people of color, to see us in these type of roles and actually like you said, producing and telling our own stories. One of the things I thought that was interesting about your bio was that you traveled back and forth to India as a child. So you were able to get your culture from both sides. How was that experience? And how do you think that relates to how you approach characters and your roles now, just having that diversity?
Ooh, I didn't know you was going. So I was in India, you know, I was like 8, 9 years old, walking around in India. My mom was on a spiritual journey. You know, she took me with her. We were living in New York at the time, and we were going to visit this ashram like a few times out of the year, for like a couple years. And as a child, I was just like, you know, like they were going to McDonald's over here, and I don't know, you know what I mean? I couldn't appreciate it really as much as a child, you know what I mean? But you know, the effect that it had on me, just, I don't know, diversity for sure. But there was like a kind of a spiritual expansion that happened. You know, they were like meditating every morning, and they were, you know, doing this discourse, and there was like a peaceful way about it that encouraged me to just, you know, kind of be at peace in a way. But I still just had a child's mentality because I was 8 years old. I wanted to get back to the States.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now for me, it's like one of the most interesting things about me, you know, like it started a relationship with God in a way that I wasn't familiar with. And then my grandmother, I spent time with her after that, and she, you know, was taking me to church. She was teaching Sunday school. So I had like this balance of this Eastern philosophy alongside, you know, of Christianity that I think just kind of fed into who I am just as a person, as a being. And so that's what I offer a role for sure. You know what I mean? But you know, I don't know. It's hard. I don't think about that part when I'm diving into roles, but it's definitely,
it's there. It's buried.
There. Yeah.
I think everything, especially at that age, I think like 1 to 12, most of the time when you start to do a deep dive on people, those experiences really shape their personality.
Yeah.
More so than the ones that we have as adults. And we can be probably more present now because you know what's going on, but really all those amazing experiences, good and bad, that happened to us in our childhood kind of shape who we become, you know. So I just thought that was interesting. That's definitely something that's different, a different approach your mom had, and I think that probably had something. You'll probably find it maybe more like where does that?
No, I love it. As an adult, I'm so very grateful for it, and I want to go back to India. Like I haven't been back since I was a child. Like I can't. I'm looking forward to getting back just to have a different point of view on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us, what are you looking forward to? I know you've got to be excited about next Tuesday's premiere. I believe Tuesday's premiere of Delilah. What are you most looking forward to audiences experiencing about the show?
You know, mostly that what I'm hoping is that they can relate to the character, you know, because I think the intention initially was just some authenticity, a sincere look at what it's like, you know, to be, we're talking about Women's History Month, like it's a woman's role is complex. You know, her life is so full in it, and there are heroic efforts that happen on a daily basis, You know what I'm saying? I think about our body sometimes, like we just don't know all these little universes in here and what it takes for us to just sit up here like this or breathe. It's a lot. You know what I mean? I feel like that with women too. You know what I mean? Like all the things that we're juggling, all the things that we're handling, it's heroic, you know?
Right.
And it's not like this Marvel. I love Marvel movies, don't get me wrong. But it's not that, you know what I mean? But just like we were talking when the interview began about Stacey Abrams, that is heroism on another level, but we do it every day in our lives. There's something that we are rising up and answering the call to. That's what Delilah's doing on a regular basis. But the reality of who she is just like, she's like, I'm a mom. I need to do this. Is my clothes? I don't know if that look right. You know what I mean? Like she's just living her life, you know, in a real way. And I hope that people can see themselves in her in that way and feel like they're having a light shined on just their everyday day-to-day experience. You know, it's not like a glamorous thing that we're doing with the show. It's very real. And
I think that's what OWN has done really well, especially over the last few years, is really make programming that people connect with. They love these characters. They love the relationship and being able to see themselves in those relationships and in those, you know, mishaps and happiness and all that stuff. So I think that I'm definitely tuning in because I think it's a different perspective when you think about friendships and we rarely see Black women pitted against each other in powerful positions. Like we haven't seen that. We've seen like one of us be powerful and the other one is at home. So I'm excited to see, you know, how that plays out. And then just how you all handle this. We're excited. I'm so excited after hearing your story, even more excited about this role for you. So you'll have to come back afterwards and talk to us about the series once people get acclimated with it and they're feeling it. Please do come back.
I would love to, you know, absolutely. I've loved talking to you. I was like, oh my God, I've never done this before. But you made it so easy. So.
Well, it's fun. Yeah, this is a relationship show. We enjoy the conversation. I think the viewers enjoy just getting to know the actors or talent, you know, on that level. So we appreciate it and we're rooting for you. Please let people know when they can tune in to Delilah.
It's on OWN March 9th and it comes on at 9/8 Central.
9/8 Central. Well, we're going to be watching. We wish you so much success, Maahara. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. What a cute interview. She's really cool. I definitely love the reality check for tonight was something that she said about friendships and just being able to relationships of any kind, hold them lightly. And if it's time to let go, that's okay. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or anything wrong with the other person, but sometimes things just have their own journey. So be willing to do that. Be open to that. Beautiful sentiment. Definitely, we're celebrating National Women's Month here at Rolling Out. Thank you for tuning in. Don't miss next week. We're going to have Jill Marie Jones, who actually plays opposite Maahara on Delilah. And of course, we all remember her as Tony Childs from Girlfriends. I have to talk to her about that and what she's been doing during this time. Make sure that you tune in also on Friday because we have an exclusive again with another member from Love and Marriage Huntsville. So definitely hanging out Fridays and Mondays. I'll see you guys next week. This has been Crystal Jordan with Reality Check. I'll see you guys next time.